Good morning, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living here in the heart of Las Cruces, where our beautiful center is thriving and alive and well in our hearts, and where our vision is a world in loving partnership for the good of all. I'm Reverend Bonnie, the community spiritual leader here at the center, and I'm always grateful to welcome you and for the fact that we are still Zooming together. It's not really Zoom, but seeing each other through this video format. And we do have lots of Zoom opportunities. So I wanted to really invite you to join us for the noon Zoom with the Rev on Tuesdays. We get together, we can talk about what you got from this amazing service, the gems that you're carrying forward. We can catch up with each other or talk about whatever's on your heart. So feel free to join us for that. And our weekly spiritual circle is Zooming together on Wednesdays at 11 a.m., and they discuss articles out of the Science of Mind magazine. Our bookstore is open by appointment only, and we're taking donations for our treasure sale, which we are aiming for May 8th. It will be outside in front of our center, and both of those things take place by appointment only. So call the office if you would like to come over and either peruse the bookstore or bring us something to add to the treasure sale. And we are still seeking people who are interested in being nominated as part of our board. We have another position open. So if you are looking for a way to be of sacred service here at the center and you've had a couple classes under your belt, please let us know of your interest if you would like to join us on the board. You can call me, Bob Greer, the board president, or Faith Brown. And check out our new website. It's up and going. It's absolutely beautiful. There's a calendar that connects you to all of the information regarding the events that are coming up. And we are inviting your feedback. If you find any spelling errors or anything that you think we need to fix or change, please call the office and let us know. And we are so grateful to the continued support in the form of tithes and offerings that are sent here to the center or paid electronically. We fully believe in the principle of circulation and prosperity, and therefore we are also a tithing community. So 10% of everything that we receive is tithed out to some other organization that we can support with our 10%. And this month, La Casa is receiving our 10% tithe. And it's a community that is an organization that supports domestic violence prevention, awareness, advocacy, and support. And a fun fact about La Casa is it was founded in 1981 as a safe haven for women impacted by domestic violence. La Casa, Inc. has grown to become the largest provider of domestic violence services in the state of New Mexico. Services are provided to all persons impacted by domestic violence. So thank you again for your contributions, and 10% goes to support La Casa.
Good morning. I'm Barbara Reesner, your practitioner on duty today, reminding you that our practitioner group is always ready to do affirmative prayers with you. So give one of us a call, or please call the office for a number and give us a call then, or we will call you back. And as always, our prayer request button is available for your online affirmative prayer requests. And our practitioners and ministers are working every Tuesday afternoon with you for your prayer requests. So now it is time for song, silence, and a prayer.
In this moment, I am grace. Grace is this moment. Grace, grace, grace. This moment is what I am. In this moment, I am peace. Peace is this moment. Peace, peace, peace. This moment is what I am. In this moment, I am still. still. This moment is what I am.
So as we breathe in the beauty and stillness of this moment, we encircle this Center for Spiritual Living within the embrace of our love and our light. Let us remember that we are of the one mind in our caring, sharing, nurturing, and optimism for a completely healed and enlightened world. And let us also remember that it is we who are in control of our thoughts to manifest everything we need or want. Our hearts beat in unison for what is unfolding in the most perfect way, right here and right now. And so it is. And so our reading today is from my favorite, 365 Days of the Science of Mind. There is a power operating through me, a presence inspiring, guiding, and sustaining me. Upon this power, I place my reliance. In this presence, I feel myself to be an outlet of immeasurable good. Because I am in this divine presence, and because it is in me, and because this divine has all power, I know that my thought is made manifest in a perfect demonstration of health, of harmony, and of success. I know the creative law of good is infinite and has all power to accomplish. I know its whole desire for me is freedom and joy. Therefore, I declare that this freedom and joy are mine today. This freedom and joy spontaneously express in my experience, and there is nothing in me that can hinder this expression. Because this all good is mine, and because it constitutes the only presence there is in the universe, I know freedom and joy cannot be separated from me, but remain in my presence, forever manifesting themselves. I know the infinite creative law is always bringing complete satisfaction into my experience, and I am conscious that there is an infinite wisdom directing me. Whatever I should know, I will know. Whatever I should do, I will do. Whatever belongs to me must come to me. And because of this infinite intelligence that is mine and that is within me now, I am compelled to recognize my good, to see more, to understand and accept and express more. And so it is.
Deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. Deep peace of the gentle night to you. Moon and stars pour their healing light on you. Deep peace to you. flowing air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. And deep peace of the gentle night to you. Moon and stars pour their healing light on you. Deep peace of the gentle night to you. Moon and stars pour their healing light on you. Deep peace to you.
Our speaker today is Reverend Randy Granger, who is an ordained minister with Universal Life Seminaries, a motivational speaker, educator, workshop leader, professional musician, and licensed massage therapist. He's of Native American ancestry and lives right here in Las Cruces, New Mexico. He also practices the science of mind teachings, Zen meditation, and sound healing. So please enjoy Reverend Randy Granger.
Hello again. Today I'm going to be talking about how we recalibrate our souls and our spirits. After this year that we've had, after 2020 with the pandemic and so much upheaval that's been going on, it's important to recognize the toll that it's taken on us and how we can find a way back to our center point. Recently, when New Mexico restaurants were reopened to quarter capacity, a friend and I met outside a local place where we usually go, out on their patio. It felt kind of awkward when they brought me my glass of water. I was unsure, am I supposed to wipe this or what? Or hold it with a napkin? And then I noticed I had forgotten what eye level contact to keep. I had got used to seeing those little pinhead-sized eyeballs of people in Zoom meetings. And so seeing my friend's facial expressions and pupils, along with feeling a bit hyper-aware of my surroundings in public, I knew I was experiencing what we've all been experiencing, and something that I recognized. People say that they're feeling exhausted, depleted, experiencing memory problems, short fuses, sudden drops into what feels like an anxious depression, and fractured productivity that alternately puzzles and shames us. We're at once excited and unnerved by the prospect of life opening up again. Last year, when the very first threat of the virus in the world came, it instantaneously activated our stress responses. It sent our nervous systems into an overdrive from which they've never really retreated. So, to use other words, the pandemic has disrupted our mind, body, and spirit connection, which is always as sensitive to what is imagined as to what is real. So we're perceiving this threat as well as experiencing it. I've read and I've heard stories of how people are experiencing increased absent-mindedness, like these examples that I found. Having no idea what day it is, or when someone tells you, hey, it's Wednesday, you have no idea what that really means. We're grasping for words. People are walking into the kitchen and finding themselves bewildered as to why they're there. They think, does my dentist have a mustache? Sometimes using orange juice instead of half and half in your coffee. Not that I've ever done that. Walking up to a store to suddenly realize you left your face mask in the car and pretending you forgot your phone or something so you don't feel so embarrassed. Maybe you're like me and you've had pandemic-related dreams. As our beings try to understand these new stressors and process it, these challenges of even going into the grocery store. So with my friend, I found it a challenge to even find the rhythm of my natural conversation. You know, you have to respond to inflections, to nonverbal cues, voice pitch, and volume. I even find that cashiers and fast food places, Well, they're suddenly talking so fast that they sound like someone rubbing balloons with wet fingers. These are all signs that our nervous system has been taxed for too long, friends. And for those of us who have experienced prior trauma, it can activate this reaction at even lower levels. And that's one thing that I think has been happening throughout this whole year for various reasons, both related to the virus and related to our social circumstances in this country. It has triggered in us past times when we've had to be in a fight, flight, or freeze mode, like with grief or abuse, war, caregiving, natural disasters, loss on a soul level. In some cases, it has robbed our opportunity for joy. But a lot of this has to do with the ways that we learned to meet stress when we were children. And unexamined, these patterns can continue to show up through our lives. If left unexamined, well, plenty of people are responding to this activation in a way that is aggression, rigidity in thinking, getting very myopic in perspective, and not having much cognitive flexibility to share anyone else's perspective or ideas. And so you have a massive loss of empathy, in some cases. We are not prepared and we're ill-equipped as a species to endure so much acute stress for this long. Back when we were on the savannas, we would be chased by predators, and eventually we'd either be eaten or we would find shelter. And then when we rested, the stress hormones of cortisol and adrenaline could quiet down. But we've had a pandemic, major world fires, smoke, civil unrest, economic disaster, loss of purpose, social media, losing friends and family from divisiveness, a contentious election season, so much yelling, blaming, hate, attack, guilt, murder hornets, flooding, etc. All day in and day out. It's taken a toll, not only on our nervous system, but on our spirit, on our souls. So here we are, a year later, but I have some good news. You're not even the same physical person you were a year ago. In some cases, not even a week ago. It's common knowledge that the cells of our body regenerate constantly. In fact, the very cells on our skin, internal organs, brain cells, memory cells are constantly renewing themselves. In fact, say happy birthday to the 10 million cells that were just generated this second to replace the 10 million cells that died the second before. Constant regeneration. Although I read that fat cells, well, they only regenerate themselves every 10 years. That's right, and no one knows exactly why they last so long, other than they're just really mean cells. So, if we're not on a cellular level who we were even a year ago, when the pandemic began, then who are we now? What is holding us together, so to speak? In Buddhism, there's the parable of the second arrow. It's a well-known teaching tool. It's a story about dealing with suffering more skillfully. The Buddha taught that when we experience something painful, say a physical illness or the news that someone we love has died, or witnessing suffering all around us, it's as if all the world has shot an arrow right into us. It hurts. That pain is totally real. It's normal. And it's fine to acknowledge it. In fact, it's good to acknowledge that pain, to let ourselves simply be and experience the pain. But often what we do is we shoot a second arrow into ourselves, all on our own. That second arrow is any thought that we use to spin up the story around our pain as a way of resisting simply being with the experience of that pain. This can manifest in many different ways, including letting it become our identity. We identify with that pain. We tell people stories of that pain, more elaborate each time we do. The first arrow is actually the bad event, which can indeed cause pain. But the second arrow, that is suffering. That's actually optional. The second arrow represents our reaction to that bad event. It's the manner in which we choose to respond emotionally. As many Buddhist mindfulness teachers like to say, suffering equals pain times resistance. I'll say that again. Suffering equals Pain times resistance. There's a quote that is attributed to the author Viktor Frankl, and it goes, "Between stimulus and response, there is peace. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." Much like that second arrow, it's a choice. So how do we avoid shooting the second arrow, especially in light of so much upheaval? Well, first of all, you have to notice the first arrow. So when you're in emotional pain, feel it, especially the sensations of that pain. You might notice your arrows as emotional pains like physical pains, irritation, anger, frustration. So it's good to think about, how do you really feel about everything this past year has brought to you? Just look at it, examine it. Second, you need to catch your impulse to add another arrow. Maybe you want to yell at someone or complain, share your story on Facebook or social media, or look for someone to blame. Just become aware and notice your reaction. It's usually a desire to lash out or to somehow discharge that energy. Complaining, for example, is pushing out the frustration and dissipating it instead of just acknowledging the first arrow. It's actually fine to shoot that second arrow because you can take it back later. Just become aware of your need to add another arrow. Third, ask yourself, do I need to shoot the second arrow? You can ask this before you shoot the second arrow, or maybe just after. Or the point is to catch yourself adding more pain to your story. That's really more energy that doesn't need to be added. You don't need to comment or share your horrible news. Ask yourself why, and then pause. Always pause. Third, ask yourself, do I need to shoot that second arrow? No, you really don't. And fourth, pat yourself on the back for catching yourself either before or right after shooting that arrow. You're learning a new pattern. You're teaching yourself a new response. You'll be able to free up more energy for situations that you can control. But you can always adjust your reaction, even if you can't control what happens to you. Perhaps then, maybe we should take better care of ourselves. Here are some suggestions to recalibrate our souls and spirit and help us heal. The first suggestion is to unplug from the internet or social media. This is mandatory, friends. Set up times when you walk away without sneaking a peek. Really, really unplug. Second, spend time in nature. For example, take a hike through the woods, the desert, a park, and observe the simplicity and beauty of creation. Sit and just listen to birdsong, to the wind in trees. It helps me to escape, at least for a time, the reality that I eventually must return to. There's a practice called forest bathing that is really popular now. I live in the desert, of course, not the forest, so I often do similar. The way you do it is you go to the forest, you go to the desert, and you completely surrender all of your senses to nature. Allow it to recalibrate as you recalibrate to its rhythms and song, to its frequency. Third, meditate, sing, pray, and discern when and where you can shoulder other people's burdens and find friends who can help carry yours. Develop a habit of giving thanks for your home, running water, electricity, food, truckers, trains, cashiers, cooks, the people who make this possible. Make it a point to find at least 19 reasons a day for gratitude, 19 being the number in COVID-19. Let's take that power back. Go easy on yourself for the collective cognitive impairment we're all going through and what I call the COVID fog. And love yourself hard. 4, breathing exercises. Breathing is so important. You know, it's interesting, during a respiratory-related pandemic, simply breathing became an act of life or death issue. So honor your breath and relax your parasympathetic nervous system by making your out breath longer than your in breath. You count to 4 as you inhale, you hold, then you count to 7 as you exhale. And if you can't do that just yet, work up to it. It relaxes your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the part of your nervous system that's always going, keeping your heart beating, keeping the smooth muscles of your intestines and your stomach lining, processing food. 5, virtual yoga, Tai Chi, workshops. They're everywhere on Zoom. You can join one online, one that's private, or you can go to YouTube. There's tons of them out there too. Create. Paint your house, rearrange, garden, dance in your kitchen, learn to play an instrument, learn to sing. Again, lots of instructional videos about all of that. Creating takes that power back, gets that purpose back, aligns you with your purpose here, which is part of creation. 6, journal and write. During the pandemic, I decided to write some of my loved ones who have already passed, my older brother, and my dad, my late partner, explaining what was going on now. I wrote it out, and I had conversations with them on paper saying, just laying it out. And then I imagined what their response would be. But what this does, writing about it helps you understand what is going on in your own psyche. It adds perspective to document our own stories. When we try and just explain it to others, keep it casual or dive in, whatever helps. Just start writing, or if you don't like to write, start having conversations. Maybe just do it out of earshot of other people. 7, ask for divine help. Ask for help from God or Spirit or whomever you believe is responsible. Creator. Start this by being still and asking, who am I? And let that percolate. Just let it percolate and wait for an answer or a nudge. Sometimes that answer will come through a bird song or come through a friend who has reached out to you or an old photo that you come across. But remember, friends, you're not this body. You're not even your own thoughts or experiences. You are pure consciousness, eternal and infinite, connected via love, via light, to a divine source of creation that is in everything and everyone. Your soul, your spirit, your essence is your true nature, and it is peace. It is compassion. It is love with a capital L. And that part of you has never been hurt. It has never been alone. It has never been afraid, and it never will be. Your soul is the most intimate part of you, and it isn't found by running away or distraction or binge watching. Rest in that understanding. 8, take a music bath. Being a sound and music healer myself, I know music releases emotions and recalibrates our cells. So put on your music. Let those sound vibrations carry you to wherever they take you. Dance and drum and sing. Hug yourself hard. Sometimes just the simple act of hugging yourself. Coué, the French spiritual teacher, would have his students, he would have them do this, and he would say, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful me, over and over and over. It really helps. Since we aren't able to hug so much in person yet, I find it's a good practice. And finally, practice compassion and empathy and generosity of spirit towards yourself, and really put yourself in the shoes of those poor grocery store clerks, the cashiers, the healthcare workers at every level, the nursing home residents, the people who struggled for their final breaths, like my uncle who we lost recently, and the loved ones who had to say goodbye via a cell phone that was being held by a healthcare person. And then take all that emotion and hold it in your hands and just give it love. And cross your hands over your heart, allowing that love to radiate into your being. Sometimes I like to picture the earth in my hands here, that I'm cradling it. Then I surround it with a pink light, which is the heart light. And I give it love. And then I release it into the universe. And remember that if any prayer has ever been answered, then all prayers will be answered. One breath, then the next, then the next, then the next. Go easy. I came across this beautiful work by Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese Buddhist and peace activist and author. And when I came across it, I was just filled with emotion because it encapsulated everything that I've just talked about in my message today. So to have that resonance happen was a big an affirmation that my soul, my spirit, knew what it needed to say through me, and it found this as validation. So I'd like to leave you with this amazing poem by Thich Nhat Hanh. As we are together praying for peace, let us be truly with each other. Let us pay attention to our breathing. Let us be relaxed in our bodies and our minds. Let us be at peace with our bodies and our minds. Let us return to ourselves and become wholly ourselves. Let us maintain a half smile on our faces. Let us be aware of the source of being common to all of us and to all living things, evoking the presence of the great compassion. Let us fill our hearts with our own compassion towards ourselves and towards all living beings. Let us pray that all living beings realize that they are all brothers and sisters, all nourished from the same source of life. Let us pray that we ourselves cease to be the cause of suffering for each other. Let us plead with ourselves to live in a way which will not deprive others of air, of water, of food, of shelter, or the chance to live. With humility, with awareness of the existence of life and of the sufferings that are going on around us. Let us pray for the establishment of peace in our hearts and on earth. Amen. And so it is. So let's sit with ourselves and let these words of Thich Nhat Hanh resonate and percolate within us. Go ahead and settle into the stillness. Feet on the floor, if you're comfortable doing that. Back straight. Now simply follow your breath in, hold it, follow it out. And do that for a few moments. As you do so, become aware of the cells in your body working in cooperation to keep you alive, to keep you nourished, to keep that constant need of oxygen in and out, nourishing your blood, your heart, your brain. And as you sit, become aware of your sit bones and where you are sitting, where they are resting. Feel them. And now move that energy up your spine, up into your shoulders. And I'd like you to raise your shoulders up to your ear and hold them for a few seconds, all the way up to your ears. And now let them go slowly back down. Let's do that again. Shoulders up all the way to the ears, back down. When we were children and we heard a loud sound that startled us, our natural inclination is to bring our shoulders up to our ears. So by doing this consciously and purposely, we can rewire that reaction and back down again. Become aware of your jaw. Notice where your tongue is lying in your mouth. And now separate your teeth. Let it rest. Move on up to your cheekbones. Become aware of them. Now with your eyes, squint your eyes and then relax. Do that a couple times. In meditation, we like to say soft eyes. The goal is to have soft eyes. And now moving up to that space between your forehead. feel it. Imagine a tiny sparkle of divine light resting right outside, right in front of that space between your eyes. That's your third eye, the pituitary gland, the seat of consciousness, many say. Let it expand. Let that light expand and swirl. And now move it up to the crown of your head, to the very top of your head, the last part of our bones to form on our skull. And imagine that it is now beginning to open like a blossom, whatever blossom you'd like, whatever comes to mind. And as it does, it radiates out, and it also receives the divine light like a sun. Okay. Now, as you go into your week, remember that you are infinite, pure consciousness, pure peace, pure love, and there's a part of you that has never been afraid, never will be afraid, and that is just pure love. Okay, now if you can, put your hands in front of your eyes while they're still closed, and then open them. And bring your hands down in front of you. We're going to do what the Acoma Indians do. We're going to take all the good there is with those two hands, like two little shovels. All the good there is, and we're going to spread it over ourselves. And now push it out to the rest of the world. Be at peace.
I want to thank you again, and I want to thank our musicians for adding to the beauty of this service. Thank you for joining us and for watching. Please stay well, stay connected, and know that I love you all. Take care.